as if men are sleeping with women, they are causing the body count to go up.
Well, I
so
think
they're
both.
causing problems
It's a mutual.
Yeah.
It's more of a woman's choice.
Of course, yeah.
Because women are the gatekeepers of sex.
Mm-hmm.
Especially unless we're getting into non-consensual relationships, which I don't think any of us are discussing. It's like if a woman doesn't want to have sex, it doesn't happen. Mm-hmm. It's not something that men are imposing on women. It's something that women are choosing to do.
Absolutely.
And that's why the sexual revolution was so bad, because it told women, go have sex, be loose. You know, Sex in the City was so popular. Even the show Friends was so popular. Just have sex, sleep around. And it told women that made you sexy and desirable and powerful, and that's what opened the gate in society. Women opened the gate. Now they're just having sex, and so they're not gatekeeping their bodies and their wombs anymore, because the sexual revolution told them that was empowering for them. And it's not. Like, it's been horrible. You can see the effects of it now. Like, abortion rates are way up. You know, depression and mental illness in women, like 22% of the population have depression and mental illness problems. Women specifically.
Even traditional women who like live on a farm with like the guy who they lost their virginity to, they have an increase in depressive symptoms as well in modern society. So it's not correlated
because
to hookup
society
culture.
itself is just so depressing and degenerate.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying it's not related to body count.
Did you want to
But
come
it
in?
is.
Yeah,
It is,
I'd
though.
like to talk. I'm with you. I'm not a big fan of marriage, and we can get into why that might be in a moment. I like having options. I remember, I'm also the child of divorce who is the child of divorce. It's like, I like the fact that I don't have to choose among the 4 women who live in my village. I like the idea that just because I had sex when I was 18 because I was a ball of hormones and I just needed to do something, that I didn't have to make a lifelong commitment to the person. I think that optionality is generally a good thing for both men and women because it facilitates getting into relationships where there's actually excellent fit between two people, as opposed to just being limited by what's available. Now, optionality comes with a dark side, but I think that we actually live in a society that has unbelievable opportunity when it comes to entering into relationships these days. Like, more opportunity than there's ever been in the history of the world. Now, when it comes to marriage, it's like, yeah, I've seen up close. My parents' divorce took 3 years. It was really tough. And I work with guys all the time who are going through divorces, and absolutely the liabilities of divorce disproportionately affect men, like, without a doubt. But that's kind of the general argument that I hear from guys against marriage. It's just like, it's so risky. But I'm going to give another potential argument, which is, well, what do you get as a man from marriage that you can't get without getting married? Like, just a few moments ago, you said you wouldn't risk it for the love of your life. And my rebuttal is, why can't you just love each other without getting married? What does love have to do with marriage?
What are you considering marriage? Paperwork? Like, what do you count as marriage? Because I didn't count my wedding dress or the wedding rings or the ceremony or the government paperwork as marriage.
Well, that's a wedding, yeah. So to me, a marriage is a civil commitment. And personally, I think the reason why marriages fail today is because it's a fundamentally very humble institution. And we've put so much on top of this that it's basically become unsustainable. Mm-hmm. Like, I think at heart, marriage is about creating a context in which to raise children. I think that's it.
Did you mean literally that you have 4 women in a village? Is that what you said?
Well, it's like my grandmother was raised in a village like that in Ukraine, and her husband lived in the village older.
Oh, so they're not like 4 wives. You're not talking about.
No, I'm saying that there's like 4 women that you could potentially choose for a wife, and like, if it's not one of those 4, it's too bad, so sad. But I remember when my grandmother divorced my grandfather in her 60s, she said that's when her life began. Like, I understand that the divorce rate is very, very high. Like, I don't say, looking at a 55% divorce rate, there's absolutely no way that I would put my head in that noose. But divorce is also, it's good that it exists because it gives people an out of really difficult situations. Now, there's got to be some space in the middle between like implementing divorce only under these really extreme fringe cases and 55% of the time. There is a great deal of space between those two places.
There is a great deal of space, and like I said, I think a big reason is male adultery. I think that would close the space in the same way you were saying it's a huge risk for guys, disproportionately for them, because women are the ones who usually initiate divorce. 50% of the time it's likely you're gonna get divorced. You could say the same thing for women. Like 1 out of 4 chances that your husband's gonna cheat on you aren't necessarily attractive odds either, but guys don't really talk about that. They just talk about the fact that like, oh, what's the point of getting into a marriage if the woman's going to divorce me? But they don't realize the fact that the woman already takes on such a huge risk as well in getting married.
Well, you mean in terms of infidelity? Mm-hmm. That's the risk of a woman when she gets married? For a woman when she gets married is the risk of infidelity?
Yeah, the 1 in 4 chance that her husband will have sex with another woman.
Well, my understanding when it comes to infidelity is, like I said before, and I know you challenged it, but the rate is comparable between men and women when it comes to infidelity.
I could be wrong. More comparable. I think
that
she's
wrong.
right. I think it's higher.
It's a bit more men?
Yeah, it is, as I understand it.
I don't know about that.
But infidelity is a really complicated thing. Like for some people, cheating is porn. Mm. And for other people, cheating means like repeated violations of the sexual contract.
The 1 in 4 refers to actual adultery, not like subjective instances of
okay,
infidelity.
Fine. So even in that case, there's a huge range in reaction. Some people are like, nope, this happened once, I'm done, the whole relationship is over, even if we've been married for 20 years, even if we have kids. Other people, they're finding ways to work with the situation. Like it's not an automatic termination. So the infidelity rate can't by itself explain the disproportionate rate in female-initiated divorces, because not every woman who's cheated on divorces her husband.
Oh, I didn't say it was 100% of the reason. I was saying that's definitely a significant way to tighten the gap a little bit between what you were saying of the 55% and then like...
But to go any further, it's like, why wouldn't she get divorced? It's like if I could work a job and if at a certain point I didn't want to work there anymore and I could take half the salary that I was making by not working, like I'm going to get more and more dissatisfied with the work that I would still have to put in at that job. It would take extremely high character and incredible integrity to put in the same amount of work and effort knowing that you could stay at home indefinitely for half the paycheck and then get another job with that time.
Sure, but you were the one who was talking about SMV, and as a woman ages, her SMV goes down, so that's a huge risk, because what are the odds that another guy is going to date her, you know what I mean, with a kid and who's a divorcee? Some guy will, but if women are hypergamous, it won't be the type of guy she wants, so that's a big factor. I don't think women are getting divorced for fun or for this like idea of laziness and just collecting the paycheck. I don't think women want to get divorced. I refuse to believe that mothers are that callous that they're like, I'm just going to collect the paycheck and then find another husband. I don't think that's what they're thinking of in their 50s when they have 3 kids at home.
Yeah, or they stay together for the children.
Well, I don't think that's a good idea.
Well, I mean, that's just some of the reasons that I've seen that why they stay in a marriage.
Oh, it's certainly something that people endorse a lot, to stay together for the children.
But I mean, if what's going on in marriages is so terrible for women and with the risk of infidelity, then, I mean, do you agree with me that marriage in general, whether it's for men or women, is a bad move?
I didn't say bad move, I said it's a risk.
For
but it's
both.
a risk within your control. Like I said, it's not flipping a coin or something. You decide whether you're going to cheat, you decide whether you're going to get divorced, you decide whether you work on your communication. It's not like jumping off a plane and 50% chance the parachute's going to open or not.
I think
But people fall out of love. I mean, I would say most relationship breakdowns aren't even necessarily, I don't even think it's necessarily someone's done something wrong.
Yeah, relationships don't have to be bad in order to end.
Yeah, and look, I'm a businessman, right? You know I'm a businessman because you find me at my places of business. And I don't sign contracts that don't benefit me. So...
Well, that was kind of my point, is not only is it a disproportionate risk, but what's the upside?
There really isn't.
I can tell you the upside.
Legal upside.
The upside used to be she would sleep with you.
Can I say the upside? Can I say my perspective on the upside?
You mean the upside as a man?
As from marriage in general.
Well, we're talking about it from the man's perspective.
Okay.
What's the upside of marriage?
The upside in marriage is that what a lot of people don't understand is that
men and women complement each other in the craziest way possible. Men and women have completely different brains. We're completely different creatures. But when you work together and you communicate through things, men have a fantastic perspective on certain things, and women have a fantastic perspective on things.
Long-term relationship.
Yeah.
I agree
Don't
with
need
all that,
marriage.
And
but
you
you don't
grow
need marriage for
together
that.
more and more and more as a couple, and when
Long-term
you raise
relationship.
children, and like
Raise children in a long-term relationship.
yes.
You don't. Yeah, but you don't need. You're talking about. You can get all of the things you listed in a long-term relationship. You need not get married.
Are you talking about like marriage just without the papers? You know what I'm saying?
That's
No,
what he's
I'm
talking about.
just.
Yeah.
You can just be in a
Lifelong
long-term
Now, how do you establish
relationship.
it?
Okay.
Like, how
What's
does
the-
both
what-
parties know it's a long-term for life relationship?
By-
But you don't even know that if you get married. That's
Yeah.
kind of our point, because it's an at-will
Good point.
relationship.
Good
But
at the
I
end
know
of the
that
time.
because I don't base our marriage off what I listed earlier.
But-
That's a
But you.
difference here.
But you're
I think
talking
it's-
from the religious perspective, correct?
I'm
Even
talking from
godly.
the-
Even godly, pious people get divorced.
No, I know, because honestly, this is a personal story. My husband and I have been through problems. Like, we've been married for going on 12 years now, but that doesn't mean we never had problems. We had lots of problems, and we had, times where we didn't think we were going to make it. But when I understood that marriage wasn't, all the external stuff, and I understood it was the consummation, that's what sealed it for me. And I know not everyone can relate to that because they've had past partners, but that's fine. Like, when you're in Christ, you make that vow to him in front of him, and you make that, it's not just a vow, it's a covenant that you make.
Right, but not all people subscribe to the religion that you do, and
It's not religion. It's not even just strictly religion.